Oh, let's take a look outside on this Thursday afternoon. We're waiting for the storm that's coming. It was really mild though and warm today. Again, people were out and about doing everything, saying, "Oh, I got to hunker down. I'm getting that big snowstorm." Winter snowstorm is coming to the metro area. We're not exactly hunkering down, but we're preparing. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Phil Lipoff. This storm is long overdue, like way overdue. And I even hesitate to say storm, but technically it is. We're not going to get a ton of snow, but we certainly will take any snow we get. Kathy, I have to tell you, I've been posting a lot of videos like grilling outside and enjoying outdoor weather, and I'm getting a lot of grief from my family and friends back east. That are under like 2 feet of snow. They're like, that's great, your winter's great.
Stop already.
It's crazy how that works. And Kim, I don't know if we need to hunker down with 1 to 3 inches of snow, but people do think they need to do that.
I'm telling you, I was at the post office and I heard them saying, we got to prepare for the crowds this afternoon because everybody's going to come in before Friday.
I know. It's something we haven't seen in a long time. I just hope people remember how to drive in it because it will be a factor for the morning drive and the evening drive. We have gone from mostly sunny to mostly cloudy. Temperatures today close to 70, and snow is starting to fall in the high country as that storm is moving in to western Colorado. Temperatures today way above average and in record territory. The wind has been a feature south of us, so the red flag warning continues. At this point, Denver not included in the fire weather warning. Radar indicating some snow in the northern and central mountains. Denver won't see snow till tomorrow morning, so your evening is fine if you want to hunker down or get gas or go to the grocery store. I don't know, whatever you feel like you need to do for this little event. You have time tonight. We'll see the snow start to fly by the morning drive. It'll continue off and on all day. Some tapering off from north to south as we move into the evening drive. And then you're going to wake up Saturday and say, what storm? It looks like it's going to be warm enough. The roads will be wet in Denver. We're still in that 1 to 3 inch forecast for the city with 3 to 6 inches west and south. And in the mountains, up to a foot of snow. We're dry and mild now for the next few hours. Your weather headlines include that storm coming in and snow we haven't seen for 40 days. The timing and impact, all you need to know, it's coming up in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Kathy. So with the severe drop in temperature expected, Denver is activating its cold weather shelter plan. The Department of Housing Stability says it will provide extra shelter from 1 p.m. tomorrow until 11 a.m. Saturday. The list of shelters is on your screen. You can also find them on the city's website. Snow is a welcome sight to the mountains. They haven't seen enough, except for maybe the Floyd Hill reconstruction project on I-70.
So even with this lack of snow we've been dealing with, our Marshall Zellinger learned that massive redesign of the highway is not going to be finished any earlier than expected. And that might have you scratching your head. He's live at the base of Floyd Hill, appropriately attired. Marshall, help make this math add up. How does no snow, which is good when it comes to construction, plus construction not equal let's get it done faster?
I wondered the same thing, Phil. It turns out snow is not the only type of weather that can impact construction projects like this. There is another type of weather that we really experienced today when we climbed to the top, sorry bosses, when we climbed to the top of that new bridge that will soon carry I-70 traffic. The largest rock blast along I-70 happened today. It's the reason the project hits the brakes on traffic multiple times during the week.
Westbound I-70 traffic will be traveling over our heads right here on top of this big structure.
We had a good look at that stopped traffic from atop the bridge that will be westbound I-70 by the end of 2027. Eastbound I-70 is supposed to be reconstructed by the end of 2028.
It's a very tight timeline to build 10 different bridges for this 8-mile section of I-70 and especially this big segmental bridge that we're standing in here at the bottom of Floyd Hill.
Work from this height has its views, like the lack of snow on the mountains. The timeline to complete this project has to have benefited from a pretty dry winter, right?
It has and it hasn't.
Project director Kurt Kionka explained that just because winter hasn't brought much snow, it hasn't meant no weather at all.
But once we got into the winter, we really started seeing a lot of wind up here.
The wind was blowing today, a warm, sunny day, which has prevented some work over the last few months.
And wind is not very good for our aerial activities, where we're picking stuff with a crane, that essentially shuts us down.
It's not as though the dry weather has not helped. The east section of the project, closest to the metro area, actually finished 6 months ahead of schedule because there were no delays laying new asphalt.
So let's say we had a lot of weather in the fall and temperatures got really cold really fast, we wouldn't have been able to complete it until this summer because of the asphalt.
Even with snow in the forecast for Friday, the bridge building should not be greatly impacted.
There are some activities that you can do while it's snowing. You know, we're drilling a lot of big holes in the ground to support the future bridge. That can go in inclement weather.
And the rock blasting should be done this summer, meaning less time drivers have to stop altogether. The overall timeline for construction and construction traffic, though, remains on schedule. Here's something pretty cool. This is a graphic of how CDOT's going to build a bridge over 2 piers while traffic is below over a creek as well. This pier and the pier in the distance are going to have this blue steel over here built on top, and somehow I'm told it's really technical stuff. This is why I'm a journalist, not an engineer. That blue steel is called a formed traveler, built on both piers, and a week or two at a time, it builds 15-foot sections of the bridge until they meet in the middle, and hopefully they meet in the middle if you're doing it from 2 different directions. That's going to be cool to watch. I think there might be a live stream of it, but we'll have to check in. I think construction on that construction starts later next month.
I use that excuse all the time too, Marshall, especially when it comes to math. That's why I'm a journalist. I'm wondering, you were talking about the wind. You felt the wind, right? You felt what they were talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't like extremely gusty, but you could see some of the construction equipment blowing around on top of the pier. And the wind is another reason that the power was shut off at the beginning of the year. Xcel did that. That was another reason things got delayed here, not snow related, but wind and power related, when they lost power for a week at this construction site. So they have had weather issues, just not snow. And even tomorrow should not be a major impact, even with snow coming.
All right, it's a good reminder of weather isn't just what you can see. Marshall, thank you.
No kidding. Every time you drive to the mountains, I marvel sometimes thinking about, how did we do this? Like the tunnels you go through and you see the bridges.
That's why you're a journalist, Kim.
Yes, yeah, I appreciate it. With the warmest, driest winter on record behind them, fire officials in Summit County are now warning people to prepare for the busy wildfire season coming up. Firefighters at Summit Fire EMS are urging everyone to assemble a grab-and-go bag stocked with essentials. You need this: your medications, your documents, a change of clothes, a first aid kit, non-perishable supplies like Gatorade, phone chargers. The bag would ideally be kept in your car, and it could contain items that would be difficult or impossible to replace.
So you have a wildfire evacuation kit in your vehicle. And then the second thing is, yes, I do have a list that I keep taped to the inside of my front door that says, if I have a half hour, these are the 6 things I'm going to grab and throw into my car. If I have an hour, I'm going to add these other things to it.
It's a good idea. Another tip: if you are under a pre-evacuation notice and you have 2 hours, leave before the 2 hours, because think about it, there's all the congestion on the roads and the panic that might come with all those trying to leave at the last minute.
Today, Pagosa Springs police arrested a man accused of killing 3 women in Utah. Police say they arrested 22-year-old Ivan Miller, who you see here, early this morning. Authorities in Utah say yesterday 2 women were found dead on a hiking trail. A 3rd woman found in a nearby home. Investigators say Miller took off in one of the women's cars heading here toward Colorado. They say they used license plate readers to track him to Pagosa Springs. And they say he had a handgun and a large knife on him at the time. Investigators are still looking into possible connections between him and any of the 3 victims.
2 police officers suffered injuries and several people are out of their apartment building in Westminster after 2 fires broke out there just 6 hours apart. The first fire at Federal and 84th sparked just before midnight. Crews managed to put it out, but not before 2 Westminster police officers suffered smoke inhalation while evacuating people. Both of them are now recovering. Firefighters then returned back to the same building at about 6:30 this morning to put out another fire. Thankfully, no injuries in that fire. In all, there are 8 units impacted. Investigators are now working to find out if the 2 fires are somehow connected.
It has been 10 years since the last name Wah was heard around here in Colorado at the Avalanche. Now another Wah, albeit unrelated, is hitting the ice at Ball Arena. The Avs announced today they acquired center Nicholas Wah from Toronto for a first and fifth round pick in next year's draft. The 29-year-old had 20 points in 59 games with Toronto this year. Wah has broken 30 points in each of the last 4 seasons, and before Toronto won a Stanley Cup with Vegas in 2023 and won the Calder Cup in the minor leagues in 2019, right alongside fellow Av Martin Necas.
The CU women's basketball team is back on the court tonight. They're hoping for a strong showing in the Big 12 tournament to secure another appearance in March Madness. The 6-seed Buffs take on 11-seed Kansas tonight at 7. The Jayhawks beat UCF 56-35 yesterday. Now, if CU wins, they'll take on 3-seed Baylor in the quarterfinals tomorrow.